And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the Jobs Podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. Episode 65 of this show. What's been going on with me? Last week I had just a big, expansive story talking about a very, very bad sales job. But at that point, it was my last resort. Cut my life into pieces. So, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. But now I went into I'm sorry, I'm looking at email. I'm just fully looking at email right now. I applied for what do we do? Other jobs. And this one is not official, but I've had 2 interviews for a writing contributor position with a website, a sister site of a website that I know. The sister site is essentially brand new. They started maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Their first full month was January, I believe. I don't remember the details. I should have been paying attention. I had one interview, which is good. The person I spoke to emailed me. I saw the job on, I don't know, LinkedIn, I think. LinkedIn or Indeed, I don't remember. I was just applying. That's what happens sometimes. You get an email or phone call. Do you want to talk? You go, what? I don't know. I do know that if I get a text from a job, in quotes, I'm not responding. That is not going to happen. You send me a email or you send me a phone call. If you send me a text, I'm blocking your number. Because I can. Because I know it's a scam. I've been around a long time. I'm like the Vandal Savage of jobs. Just keep surviving. Go look up Vandal Savage. He's a supervillain in the DC Comics world. He's immortal, more or less. He was a caveman that slept next to a meteorite that crashed down on Earth during caveman times, and he's been around ever since. I can't do math, but I know that. So this person, I applied to the job. And here's where it would have been considered fake if this person ever followed through, is that they sent me. Well, here's what I liked about it. It was LinkedIn. I read through the LinkedIn post. Like a couple dozen or 100 people had applied or whatever, but I read through the post, and then I sent them. They said, "Hey, don't just apply. Email this address." And then their address was attached to the regular website that I knew. So I went, "Oh, that's great. This is a real thing." The person came back to me, asked me to do a questionnaire. I did a questionnaire. I responded to the best of my abilities, as one does. And then they said, "We'll get back to you." Smash cut 2. It was like 2.5, 3 weeks later. They send me an email. "I'm so sorry. Things got busy. Let's talk." I had a nice phone call. We talked for, 20 minutes or so. And then they seemed gung-ho. They said, let's follow up with a second phone call. You'll talk to the person who you'll report to, more or less. Again, it's a contributing job. You're going to be doing stuff on your own. You're going to be posting things on your own. I set up we set up an email chat between the three of us. And then we all, and I did a writing test. I had a chat with the other person, and then that person was like, great, let's do it. And then the first person said, okay, let's have our chat, and I'm going to go over the things that you need to change in your test in order to continue to write to succeed for this platform. I said, great. I opened up the Google Doc, just a smattering of changes. I was like, oh my God. No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was just things I'd forgotten I'm 31, in the 10 or so years I've been out of college. When it comes to writing like that, AP style. Again, I worked at NBC News. I worked at the Weather Channel. I worked at CNN. But I hadn't written a lot. And when I was writing at NBC, I was writing my own things. And I was just putting them on the website, and nobody was stopping me. Are they still there? No. Except for the stuff that I put under 11 Alive staff. The stuff I was embarrassed by. I don't think Muck Rack existed back then. But who cares? I'll make a new one. And then we went over the details. The pay, there's nothing to write home about, quite frankly. I'll be writing roughly 15 to 20 stories per week if I want to be successful. So I have to do that one test that took me about an hour to get through. I have to do that at least 15 times if I want to be successful. If not, I still get paid per post, which again, nothing to sneeze at. It's the page views that count. I got to play that game. I have to play that game of writing for what people want to read. Not what I think they want to read. Not yet. What they want to read. I'll be covering. Oh, and then the conversation I had on the 13th was with the person that I'd be the editor. I should just say that. I'd be covering things that I know, so that's great. But also, I have to pay attention to those things now instead of. I'll say it. It's an entertainment news writing job, so I'll have to. Instead of, putting off writing or watching something 2 weeks in a row, I have to watch it the day it comes out, and quite possibly the next morning at the latest. So there's that. That's a nice little contract thing. I also had an interview. This is, you know what? This is so funny. I think I've mentioned this company. The next company I'm talking about, so many times. I've mentioned them so many times. It's not Warner Brothers. I had an interview with, and how many times over the course of 65 episodes now can I say that the words I've had an interview? Not many. I had an interview with a company that I've spoken to many a time. At least three. 1, 2. I think 3 or 4. I think it might be 4, but I'm gonna say 3, including including yesterday. I had a conversation with this company for a weekend producer. Just weekend editing. Saturday, Sunday, 10-hour shifts. Editing and making, writing news stories during that time. And again, like I said, it's like the 3rd or 4th time I've spoken to them. The person that set up this interview is somebody I've spoken with prior. And she remembered. And I went in this interview, I went, you know what? I'm not even going to bring up the other times because I did that last time. And as soon as we popped on Zoom, there were two people from that company, and then myself. The person who said the interview was like, "Hey man, how's it going?" Just last time we talked, I was like, "Yep, here we go." You remember? I harbored no ill will. Not like Crisp is the company I could not remember. I think the last time I talked about them here in Atlanta, they're based in Northwest Atlanta, northwest part of the city, and I've spoken to them at least 4 times, and each time been denied without them telling me anything. But I have spoken to them 4 times. Like I consistently got interviews with them over the past 5 years. And I remember that last time I was just so done. I was burnt out. He's like, "Yeah, hey, I talked to y'all last time, and please just tell me if I don't have a job." I'm very confident in my abilities, but when you jerk me around like that, I'm gonna not give anything. Not give anything. We'll see what happens with that one. That's the second one. It'd be nice to have both, so I could at least have something. And then along with the two, Saturday and Sunday, the weekend thing, they also told me you choose whatever 2 days during the week. I would choose like Friday and Monday, I guess. I don't know. Or Tuesday, Wednesday. Something. And then on those days, you would help write. I'm giving away too many details. You would help write. You would essentially just be a writer for the news. I support the mission of both of these websites that I've interviewed for. One is entertainment based, one is news based. I support both the missions. They're both real. But Crisp, I hate you so much. Ooh, I hate the people at Crisp. I'll tell it to their faces. I'll drive up there right now. Give me 20 minutes. Just with my coffee breath. How dare you lead me on? All right, let's get on with the stories I have. This comes from the BBC, written by Karen Hogan. I'm switching it up, baby. Firms plan job cuts as employee costs rise. As across the world, we are seeing not only layoffs, but the cost of having employees become way too much for companies that don't want to invest in their employees anymore. And investments can come from all different types. It can be the HSAs, it could be salaries, it could be vacation time, it could be meal vouchers that they give them. It could be anything. And job cuts also come from not just laying people off, but also not hiring people or not hiring more people than they should. Companies are planning to cut jobs or recruit fewer people ahead of rises to national insurance payments and wages, according to a survey of UK employers. Businesses questioned by the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, the CIPD, also said they would raise their prices to cover increasing employment costs. Insurance policies are necessary, especially for salaried and full-time employees. So this is a way around working around the laws that have been instituted in the world of business and in the world of the world. Separate research conducted by the Federation of Small Business found that in the final 3 months of last year, confidence among small firms hit its lowest point for 10 years, not including the COVID pandemic. The Treasury said it was delivering the stability businesses need to invest and grow. Rises to national insurance contributions, NICs, by employers, as well as an increase in the national minimum wage announced in October's budget will come into force in April. So that means companies have to raise their minimum wage from 12 quiddly dues up to however much they're charging, to 18 quiddly dues. I know it's quid. Talk to me. According to the CIPD survey, just over a third of 2,000 firms it spoke to said they plan to reduce their headcount through redundancies or by recruiting fewer workers. Redundancies include, adding tasks to jobs at hand. More companies, some 42%, said they would lift prices, while a quarter of those surveyed said, quote, they're canceling or scaling down plans for investing in or expanding their business. It's unfortunate that, a lot of bigger companies can raise their minimum wages and raise salaries. But again, they want more for less. They want people to do more, and they want people to do it for less money. As living wages, living expenses grow higher, people are going to want to continue to live in the same lives that they have. Let's make it personal. I want to continue to be able to living in a similar lifestyle where I can wake up at 3:30 and then go to the gym and shower and do all my stuff and work at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, but also do it from home. Or only have to go in a couple of times a week, and also afford all those snacks behind me, and also be able to subscribe to streaming services, and also be able to take a nap during the day without anybody breathing down my neck, unless you're two furry little freaks living with me. But there's other expenses people have to account for. There's health insurance. There's going on vacation. There's mortgages. There's rents. There's all that stuff. From April, employers will have to pay national insurance at 15% on salaries above 5,000 quid instead of 13.8% on salaries above 9,100 at the moment. The government has said the rise is necessary to fund public services and fix a, quote, black hole in public spending plans. It claims it inherited from the Conservatives. In the 12 months of December, prices rose by 2.5%, a slightly smaller increase than in November, but still above the Bank of England's target. The bank has previously warned it expects inflation to spike at 3.7% later this year and take longer to fall back to its 2% target. All right, let's move on to this next one. This comes from Politico, written by Holly Otterbein. Handful of dismissed Energy Department staffers offered their jobs back. So when the current president took office, a couple of weeks later, he and his team started slashing jobs that they said were unnecessary and that they thought would save money. By he and his team, I mean he and a billionaire who owns a car company and Twitter and a space travel platform. I don't know. What is the rocket company? They think that they can run America like it's a business. They think they can just lay people off, fire them, and then the money will immediately come. But what happens when you just fire people, especially people who have important jobs? You have to find ways to do those jobs or offer those people their jobs back. A small group of federal workers who help run the power grid in the Pacific Northwest are being asked to return to work after being fired only days ago. Mike Braden, president of the American Federation of Government Employees Local 928, a union that represents federal workers, said about 30 of his members who help build and maintain high-voltage power lines and perform other work to run the power grid for the Bonneville Power Administration in the Department of Energy were terminated last week and then asked to return to their job. The union provided documents to Politico confirming his account. Braden said they had no idea what we did. For work. So they just laid them off. Kate Miller, a spokesperson for the unofficial Department of Government Efficiency, I will not be saying that, the shortened term, said that that part of the government was not involved in this, meaning the firing or the unfiring, which is untrue. I think is untrue. The Department of Energy did not immediately respond to requests for comments. The agency cited guidance from the Office of Personnel Management in letters to staffers who were fired, according to documents. I don't know if we need more lawsuits in this country, but I would definitely do a class action at this point. An additional 100 members of Braden's union were fired last week and have not been asked to return as of now, he said. Previously, 300 took the quote-unquote buyout deal. I saw an article that also said there were people who wanted to take the buyout, the federal. So there was an offer for some of these jobs, not every single job, but there were offers for some government jobs where you can either get fired, get fired anyway. But there was an option to take the buyout instead of to continue working, not get fired. Get an option to take a buyout for your current contractor or what have you. And there were people who said, I'll take the buyout, and then they were not eligible for the buyout. What Braden's team does is they provide 20% of the power to the Northwest. They have 3 million people who receive their power. Again, this I mentioned it before. This happens. This happened across government agencies. This comes from Minho Kim over at the New York Times. Trump fired, then unfired National Nuclear Security Administration employees. What exactly were their jobs? Well, you hear Nuclear Security Administration, you think it's important. And God dang it, they were. They maintain, refurbish, and keep safe the United States' more than 3,000 nuclear warheads. So they're the ones who clean them, make sure that they work in case we need them, and so on and so forth. It also supervises the production of new nuclear warheads. It has a $25 billion annual budget and around 2,000 directly hired employees who manage more than 55,000 contractors who play an integral part in warhead production and maintenance. It takes teams of people to make sure, like, go to a mechanic's place. A mechanics place, a mechanics place. Mechanics Place is my favorite new Netflix multicam, and it stars Tim Allen. I know he just has a new ABC show called Shifting Gears, but he's also doing Mechanics Place, which is behind the scenes of whatever Shifting Gears is about. I lost it through line. Why do people want to continue working with him? Just end Toy Story. I'm good. I don't need to see another Tim Allen project. Okay. But imagine a mechanic shop where there are any number of people working on a single car. So let's say there's 5 people working on a car. Notice how I didn't say no genders. I'm pretty progressive. So there's 5 people working on a car. Imagine there needing to be at least 5 people to work on this car. And then when you take away 2 people, now 3 people are doing a job of 5 people. When you take away another person, it's just 2 people doing the same job. When you take away another person, that's 1 person doing everything to that car. It's going to take longer. It might not all be right. And there are going to be some things that they can't do. You can't take out an engine block by yourself. Don't tell me you can. I've got a garage. I could do it myself. Congress also put this National Nuclear Security Administration in charge of thwarting nuclear proliferation, researching and developing nuclear propulsion systems for submarines, and directing national laboratories that provide key scientific and engineering knowledge for the U.S. nuclear weapons system. So the week prior to this, 300 probationary employees at the Nuclear Security Agency were fired. A spokesperson for the Energy Department disputed those numbers, saying it was fewer than 50 people at the agency had been fired, and most had administrative and clerical roles. On Friday night, again, the week prior, at least some of the laid-off staff members at this agency were told to come back to their jobs, according to a person with direct knowledge on the matter who spoke on condition of anonymity, blah, blah, blah. NBC News reported that the agency struggled to reach out to some employees that it wanted to reinstate, unable to find contact information for those workers after they were shut off from their federal government email accounts. Sometimes it takes a while for these email accounts to shut down. Sometimes it's instant. I know when I was at Cartoon Network, and then they laid off a bunch of people, including myself. It took months for them to shut down my email. In fact, I could still get into the screener account. I was watching shows and movies. And then when I was let go from CNN, they shut that down that day. They were like, nope. Oh my God. I remember I was driving home. I even got a phone call because I didn't turn in my badge. Because it was my badge from Cartoon Network. No, it's my badge. My badge. They were like, I didn't even pick up. I was like, nope, I'm leaving. On that midnight train to Georgia. 2 songs in 1 episode. I'm also scratching my lat. The agency, the NNSA, is trying to modernize the rapidly aging U.S. nuclear weapons arsenal. Imagine if these just didn't work at a time when we need them. God forbid we need them. Imagine if they just went off. I don't know. In cartoons, that happens. I saw a Simpsons episode about it. You only move twice. The NNSA, as of 2024, was carrying out 7 warhead modernization programs for the Defense Department. The New York Times reported last year that the U.S. military was expected to spend roughly $1.7 trillion to overhaul the nuclear weapons infrastructure and warheads that were designed and built several decades prior. That means they are looking at research, development, testing, design, production, maintenance of nuclear warheads, and the updated infrastructure. In 2024, Jill Hruby, the administrator for that organization at the time, said that they were, quote, being asked to do more than at any time since the Manhattan Project. And remember, the Manhattan Project there's a movie. There's a great movie based on it, Oppenheimer. You go see it. That guy loves to have sex. Loves to cheat on his beautiful wife with another beautiful woman who is a communist, I think. I don't know. And then he felt guilty about that bomb he built. But, oh, man, that explosion in the movie theater, I saw it in IMAX. Anyway, Manhattan Project was big. That's the one that built the atom bomb. Congress has expressed concerns around the workforce recruitment and retention issues at the NNSA. In April 2024, Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm testified to Congress that attrition of skilled employees at the agency remained high because of long hours and fierce competition for talent in the private sector. I wonder what the private sector would entail. Is that private defense contracts? Speaking of movies, you hear about that in movies a lot. Several government reports that that year highlighted staffing challenges across the agency and among its contractors that produce nuclear warhead components. The Government Accountability Office, a watchdog agency, estimated that by fiscal 2026, the NNSA would be 200 positions below the level deemed necessary without a remedy, which means that they need more people. Whereas people are leaving more so. So if you get rid, of if you have a team of people who are all fighting to keep their jobs, and then some of them are being offered jobs at other places and they want to take them because they don't really technically like their jobs, and you still have to hire for more of those positions. Snake eating itself. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but it's not good not to have those people, not have people working in those positions when they're desperately needed. When is this going to cool down? When are there going to when are we not going to have to hear about? Well, not have to hear about, but when are we not going? When are these agencies where people have been let go from necessary positions? They need to have their own reprieves. When are we not going to hear about this? I think what happened for a lot of these is that meaning that the current administration, went in and asked organizations like the Government Accountability Office, agencies like that, and said, where do we not need, like, where's the money, where's the spending coming from? And then the Government Accountability Office is like, hey, the National Nuclear Security Administration is going to be spending $1.7 trillion. But also they're going to be 200 positions below the level where they need to work. And it's like, no, we heard 1.7 trillion. Let's get rid of the people that we don't need there. Save ourselves a couple billion. And they did that. And they did that for all of these, like the Energy Department and the Defense Department, all that stuff. But what they didn't see was the future. In the short term, yeah, you save a couple of, billion, and then you could reinstitute that into America. I don't know where that money would go. It ain't coming to me. Oh, what I would do with $1 billion. I would give away everything except for 25 million. And I would just live off of that and invest it. And then the rest, I would give it away. And I'd be the greatest person everybody knew. Oh, Mother Teresa? There's Mother Teresa and Jesus and Chad. There's and then people cathedrals, they'll have Mother Teresa on stained glass windows with her hands in prayer, and then Jesus with his hands out and people at his feet, and then me, I'm like, hey, how you doing? There's Jesus and Mother Teresa, wow. Me a Nintendo Switch. Listen, if you like what you heard here, and with that last blasphemous minute, I don't know why you wouldn't. Head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people. I just most recently had a conversation with the cast of Night Court, Lacretta, Nyambi, and Gary Anthony Williams. Check it out. It's an excellent conversation. You can find that under the Constitutionals podcast, wherever you get your podcast, or you can watch the video version of that interview under the interviews on youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see also a video version of this show, as well as a video version of the Constitutionals podcast, the Entertainment Business News podcast, and Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. The last episode of that, we just covered SNL 50, so check it out. Before the 50th anniversary special, which was fantastic. I stayed up on Sunday night. I watched it. It was wonderful. Oh, my gosh. You can subscribe to the Constitutionals podcast, Late Night Lately, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky at @CPlusComedy. Me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.